Say, what be a pirate's favorite crime?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's arson.
That's a good way to start, yeah.
We decided to help Starkey last time, and that means that there are actually pirates around the Tortuga. If we had abandoned him to his fate in the jungle, then instead there'd be a bunch of enemies here.
So pirates are still our friends.
Yep, and it actually has a significant change to what happens to Ventureland at the end of this little side story.
Yar.
In fact, there are two completely different chains of side quests that are mutually exclusive to whether or not you decide to help the pirates.
Interesting. So, in effect, we're sort of committing ourselves to two separate story paths.
Yes, although there is actually a second story objective you have to commit to if you want to keep the pirates around, specifically in Tortuga, which means that they will not be in Ventureland anymore because, well, this is where they belong.
So they migrate from one location to the next.
Yeah. So if you want the pirates quest chain to activate the post-game, you actually don't help them, because then they'll be stranded in Ventureland.
I see.
And, of course, every NPC in the game has a unique animation for watching the TV sketch.
Would pirates even understand what the concept of television even is?
Say, what be this magical moving image?
I think they understand that the picture moves, and that's enough to brain rot.
Given what we know about Tycho, I can only assume that these watch sketches fell off the back of a truck, let's say.
Not even damaged!
Anyway, that blue chest over there is, I believe, the last piece of animatronic Daisy. So once we go back to Ventureland, we will be able to put her back together.
Hooray for another part of my nightmares.
One whole leg.
And I believe that leg is only available for free if you help the pirates. As I've mentioned before, when it comes to the animatronic friends, you can buy their pieces, but they're 1,000 e-tickets each, so it's a heavy cost.
Well, I mean, nobody ever said that buying friends was easy.
Especially buying someone else's friends.
Nor is making friends, because the instructions are all in Chinese.
It is, yeah, it is kind of interesting that, yeah, they've got both, like, Skull Island and, yeah, I think I talked about this last video, just, yeah, this bizarre blend of two different franchises.
Yeah, it's a bizarre blend of knockoffs of two different franchises, even. So if you didn't help him, Starkey will still be here, but he'll be mad at you, and he won't give you the pin that he's about to give you now.
Ooh.
So if you really want that pirate hero pin, you actually have to bother with the enemies in the jungle.
Does being a pirate actually make us a hero? Like, that's kind of a bit of an oxymoron, wouldn't you say?
Well, as long as they're the corporate-friendly pirates.
Yeah, it depends on what side of capitalism you're on.
So, this is based on the Castaway. It was kind of thrown together at the last minute in 1931 when Disney realized that they were one short on their contract to Columbia. So, this was the directorial debut of Wilfred Jackson, who would go on to become one of the most prolific animation directors in Disney. But back in 1931, he was 25 years old, and one day Walt Disney said, "Here, kid, just recycle some animation from other shorts. We're one we are one cartoon short, and Columbia is going to sue us if we don't do anything. So here, put something together in 2 weeks. And that's how we got the Castaway.
And I guess that's why the level itself is just basically a jaunt from left to right. Like, there's no real, anything to it.
Exactly. And this is the Pirate Voyage. It's another pretty big map, although it is still the second biggest map of this particular section of the game. We'll be seeing the other one later on.
I do appreciate that they let you destroy the gears on these wheels so that you can just stop the platforms in place.
Yeah, it's something I had to force myself to do, because every other time I just sail across the thinner pool with the double jump glitch.
Your speedrunner was showing.
Yeah, I had to put it away, so as not to frighten the children.
Yeah, I guess if you've got all this health, why not just, melt your bum a bit?
Although it is a bit riskier in speedrunning because it is a significant time cost to grab any of the health upgrades. In fact, there is one mandatory health upgrade that is skipped because of a glitch that happens later on. But not in this run. I'm talking about in the old speedrunning route that I used several years ago. And speaking of things we haven't seen in a while, the painted center pumps, which I think we last saw those back at Gremlin Village.
Oh yeah, I think it has been a while.
Yeah, so that's a mechanic that returns for this map as well as the next one.
Hooray! Can never get too many of that particular kind of puzzle, maybe?
Well, it's not so much of a puzzle here. The difficulty comes from navigating the Pirate Voyage ride. Because there's a giant river in the middle, and you are expected to hop along the rooftops and jump across the various boats, because you have to go to both sides of this particular ravine. Of the 3D areas, it is definitely one of the more platformer heavy.
Yeah, this kind of has I guess I would say, almost a Banjo-Kazooie vibe in terms of coloring.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's definitely a lot more washed out than some of the other things that we've been seeing.
And I forgot to mention it last time, but of course, since we're Adventureland, all the enemies have brand new costumes that are pirate-themed, of course.
What else?
The attention to detail, man. I love it.
I am also kind of liking this piratey fight scene type music.
Yeah, this is definitely Jim Dooley's Pirates of the Caribbean side showing. Poor Sweeper, by the way. Let's see that again in slow motion.
Oh no!
The enemy AI, especially the friendly AI, is usually okay, but every so often it gets itself killed.
That's not going to go on your report card, is it?
Not if I have anything to say about it. But yes, James Dooley was one of what are known as arrangers, who are kind of like the ghost writers for film music. In the case of Pirates of the Caribbean, you would get, a big name composer like Hans Zimmer. He'd write all the themes, and he'd write some of the basic musical cues. And then you'd have about a half dozen people working on behind the scenes to make sure that the musical ideas stitched together in the final cut. And one of those people was Jim Dooley, who later worked on this game.
Oh yeah, Hans Zimmer was actually one of the guys who created the main theme for Pirates of the Caribbean, like he's a pirate.
Yep, that was him. And since he's a big shot who does not have time or patience to do any of the nitty-gritty work, he wrote the themes, but people like Dooley were the ones who made everything work together.
Fleshed it out, in other words.
Yeah, exactly. One of the other arrangers on Pirates of the Caribbean, I can't remember his name, but he's the guy who would end up doing the music for Game of Thrones a few years later.
Let's see. Game of Thrones composer.
By the way, if you have to commit to all 3 pumps, otherwise the entire thing resets. Which is something I didn't know when I recorded this. I figured, might as well put one of them, fill one of them with thinner and see what happens.
Oh, that's devious.
Apparently, the composer for Game of Thrones was Ramin Djawadi.
Yes, that was him. He was one of the arrangers on the first Pirates of the Caribbean film.
Interesting. Learn something new every day, I guess. Got yourself a little bit of a bum burn there.
Yep. Actually, there are several interesting, weird things that happened in this take that I've never seen before. First of all, you remember back when we were in Oztown, and I think it was Moody who said he had a cousin that was missing out in Ventureland.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's Rigger Green.
Here.
We found him. Yep. Now, how are we supposed to free Rigger Green? Well, there's a gremlin over here.
Can we just thinner the bars like we just did?
Unfortunately, the bars are not thinnable. Only things that are made of tune can be made to disappear with thinner.
Ah, so these are special bars.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The game's art direction tries to guide you by showing basically anything with brighter colors is generally an object made of tune, so that you can remove parts of the wall but not the whole thing. Well, Rigger Green seems pretty happy here, but I mean, while he's here, might as well free him.
I see. Folks finding happiness in captivity.
Unfortunately, Rigger Green is not a great multitasker. He cannot talk to you and sit on a treasure chest at the same time. Now, we're eventually going to get to a point. We've seen it several times now that there's been like one word left over in a text box. However, this is the only time that I've ever seen a completely blank text box in the game.
Wow.
Good job, Rigger Green. You're unique.
Maybe it's like one of those like anime intonations, like or like people like making mouth noises.
I know, but the way you pronounced that, it sounded like Mickey Mouse noises, and I hope that was intentional.
No. But nice catch.
Now, I try to show off here. Unfortunately, I get hit anyway.
Well, you know, the thought was good.
Sometimes the collision can be a bit wonky. And speaking of wonkiness and jank, well, it's not this Spladoosh, but the one right after it. You got to be careful when you paint in Spladooshes, because they can still be set off by pretty much any suspicious or unexpected movement. Like this one over here. Yep, trying, but I couldn't quite get him. You
Wow.
can't save them all, Mickey. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
You took all of 2 health damage from that, one of which you got immediately back.
I
I'm
know.
kind of used to bomb enemies being a little bit more scary than that.
It's the tough choices in life. So, this one is based on Shanghai from 1934. Basically, Mickey and Minnie are Shanghai, that is kidnapped at sea, by Pete and his pirate crew. And Mickey rescues them both. There's Pete over there. Him poking out there is a reference to one particular gag right at the beginning of the short where one of Pete's crewmates tries to, or he gets distracted trying to find Mickey, and Pete smacks him over the head.
I see. And what about that guy with the mop?
I don't remember. There's a lot of very strange details. But Shanghai is unique for a couple of things. First of all, it was the first time that Pete had voice acting, with his first voice actor being Billy Bletcher. He had been silent prior to that. And also, this was I'm trying to cover for my being unable to get the film reel. But this was kind of a one-man showcase, in a way, animation-wise, for Norm Ferguson, who would end up being one of the senior animators at Disney. Basically, the entire climactic duel sequence in Pete's cabin between Mickey and Pete, that was all him. Usually, animators get assigned specific characters or maybe specific shots, but Norm did it almost entirely by himself.
And I'm guessing by the complexity of this level that it was not intern level work.
No, this was one of the important ones.
Oh, Shmi, your boat's sunk.
Wait, it's meant to be submerged if you put the anchors down?
Nobody
Smee's
ever
not very
said
smart.
Smee was good at this, yeah.
It's been well established at this point that he's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
I love the design, though. Very eerie. I like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Skull Island, based on Skull Rock from Peter Pan. There's actually some original concept art where the skull would have actually been Oswald's skull, which I guess that was cool.
Ooh, that would have been sick.
I'm only kind of upset they didn't use that.
Did I forget to edit this part out? I guess I was really, I guess I was really obsessed with that blurry rock texture.
Just a nice, quiet moment of contemplation.
Yeah.
Thinking about all the pins we've amassed.
This is by far the biggest map in the entire series. And yes, I know that most of it is a thinner pool, but still. And as Gus pointed out earlier, when it comes to just escaping this level, the only mandatory story objective is to thin out the anchors, and that will raise Smee's ship so that we can get to the Jolly Roger, where Hook is. Although, if we want to keep the that quest chain with the dog and goat characters instead of the pirates, we do have to destroy the machine that is turning pirates into the Pirate Beetle Works.
About that, by the way, I thought you mentioned that trying to use the flags on the Beetleworks was actually kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that when I recorded this part. I mean, it's still doable, it's just not great. And it is not something I would recommend in hindsight.
By the way, since these pirates are being turned into Beetleworks, did you just blow up a guy?
Yes, sometimes we have to kill one pirate to save 100 pirates. I'm sure they'd understand.
Well, except for that one guy.
Well, I mean, he can't understand it. We killed him, so...
True enough.
I'm waiting for the map where you have to call down white phosphor.
Do you feel like a hero yet, Mickey? And I believe if you use thinner on the pumps, it counts as it counts in such a way that it ruins the machine and also forces you into the pirate subquest line, as opposed to the actual residents of Edgerland. And breaking the rule of 3, there are actually 4 pumps in this area.
Wow. They're innovating. You think they might ever go so far as to do something crazy like 5?
Maybe. And this is Hook's machine. I mean, we could save these pirates, but I know that Mickey's an indecisive guy. He might change his mind in the middle. Particularly with the way I've been playing him.
I don't know. It looks like you've definitely been going a lot more green than blue. Maybe we ought to do a good deed to balance it out a little bit.
Well, I do have 1 tint at the moment. What does that count for? Anyway, since we're here, this is a really big map. Plenty to see here. Let's talk a bit about the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It was one of the last rides overseen by Walt Disney before his death in 1967. And also at the time, he couldn't really pay that much attention to it because he was simultaneously working on Disney World, which would open soon after in Florida. It was originally conceived as a walkthrough attraction. It would be a wax museum showing off different moments in pirate myth and history. But at some point, that was changed to what is known as a dark ride, which is where you go through the tiny boat and see It's a Small World, etc. That's called a dark ride, even though It's a Small World is kind of cheerful. It's a technical industry term.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's called a dark ride because you're riding in the dark.
Or I think it's more that you're riding indoors. Anyway, there's one of the anchors.
Ooh, wow. That is a familiar riff right there.
Your Zimmer is showing, Dooley.
Mm-hmm.
And I think here I was trying to experiment to see if I could get these two to fight.
I mean, kind of. Not well.
Is this the Wasteland version of dogfighting? Okay, Mickey's the referee. I think he's called it. That counts as a ring out.
I mean, yeah, like sumo rules, he won.
And also by sumo rules, the entire thing was rigged from the start. And apparently Gus is our cheerleader.
He is very good at that.
The Pirates of the Caribbean ride was not the first to use the Disney patented audio animatronics. That was actually the Tiki Room, which we've talked about before. But the advancements made in just a few years between the Tiki Room and Pirates of the Caribbean, it was a huge difference.
Slurp.
Screwball.
We may be pirates, but we're not gay. We're not allowed to show emotion. Anyway, sorry, Plazas. I think you were in the middle of saying something there.
Well, I just thought it was kind of interesting that the thingy that you showed us, it was from a ride-through done all the way back in the 90s.
Yes.
Or as soon as the 90s, I might say. And some of the subject matter was kind of not exactly in keeping with the tone of the sort of piratey stuff that they would do later on with, the film series.
Yeah, certainly in the 90s version of the ride, the gender and sexual politics of that ride had not changed since 1967.
Yeah. One of the things that definitely popped out at me was the wench auction.
Yes. Although I think that has been... I don't know if it's been outright removed, but it's certainly been toned down in more recent years. And that's not even including in the past 20 years or so, various versions of the pirate ride have been altered to include references to the movie franchise. Although even today, the Disneyland version of Pirates is insanely ambitious. There are 53 animatronic animals and 75 animatronic pirates.
Yeah, the actual video...
But, who's this?
Oh, we found him!
He's,
Pan is here.
He's kind of flying.
He believes hard enough. Will you accept Diet Sprite?
Yeah, I got a bottle of 7-Up here.
Yeah, close enough.
I like how even when he's supposed to be Peter Pan, he still has his peg leg.
Yep. I mean, I can't imagine that peg leg is particularly aerodynamic. I mean, that's what happens when your flight is powered on belief. You don't really need to tailor your costume or your physicality to actually accommodate your flying, because you already believe that you can fly.
It is actually kind of funny that the costume, it definitely seems like it was sized for a regular, like, Peter Pan performer.
Yeah,
like
it was sized for someone maybe a third of Pete's size. And up here is the last piece of Daisy.
Oh god, my nightmares.
And one last fact about the Pirates of the Caribbean ride while we have time here. The current version, the canals have 630,000 gallons of water. At any time, the ride needs renovation or repairs or just basic additions because they change things around, it takes 3 entire days to drain the canals in the ride.
I can imagine.
Now, I was trying to show off a technique here, but I kind of messed up. If you have, you either throw down a TV sketch to distract the guards, or you could use the watch sketch to run past them before they could trigger the gate.
Mickey, remember the basics of CQC.
Exactly. And I thought that if you ran away far enough that the gate would reset, but nope. There is another way in, at least.
Time for the intended route.
Gee, I wonder what we have to thinner away here.
Well, I mean, you can kind of ambush them, I guess. Not anymore. I think they're aggroed. Oh, no, never mind.
And you hop down to engage them anyhow?
Yep, just for the hell of it.
Grody.
Anyway, I forgot to mention that there is a second floor to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It's actually it actually snakes around underneath New Orleans Square underground. But there is a second floor, which was meant to be originally meant to be a private apartment for the Disney family. Although that was changed to the Disney Gallery, changed again to a bunch of VIP apartments called the Disneyland Dream Suite. But now it is actually home to a restaurant called 21 Royal, which I think has a maximum patronage of 24 people at a time. Very exclusive stuff.
So why don't they call it 24 Royal?
I guess it wasn't as marketable a name. I don't know. Anyway, we've almost done everything we can here. There's just a few collectibles left. I think there's a gold pin that's at the top of this mountain.
You know, what with all the build-up for Pete Pan, I kind of figured he'd be a little bit more pivotal to the story. He's just kind of running around up there.
Well, I mean, the knight's still young. He may yet have a part to play.
He's trying. He's trying. We give him credit.
Oh, hey, it's another Starkey clone. Oh yeah, that does remind me that in Shanghai, one of the main bits of the duel between Mickey and Pete involves Pete accidentally replacing his peg leg with the rolling three-legged stool that you saw at the beginning of the level, and so that they end up having like an old Errol Flynn style sword fight, but Pete's leg keeps slipping and sliding around.
I mean, that is definitely keeping in tune with the Pirates whole thing. Like, even if Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't probably a thing, just like the whole idea of doing duels in completely odd and out of place scenarios.
I do agree with Gunner Andrew that if at some point I lost a hand, I would definitely want a saw instead of a hook.
But then how would you actually carry anything?
With my other hand.
Man has a point.
Anyway, we're off to fight Captain Hook now.
Well, there is like 12 more minutes left in the video.
Yeah, there are 3 different ways to beat Captain Hook, and I'm going to show them all.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy, we are going to humiliate this man.
Oh yeah.
Robot thing.
Man-Robot Thing is definitely my favorite series of Capcom platformers.
And you are totally going to pick up the creaky to my chair here.
I'll add some reverb. Really make it stand out. Oh, what was that?
That would be the crocodile.
Yep, you called it earlier. There is definitely a robot version of the crocodile.
Was it me who called that?
Yeah.
I don't remember saying that.
Or at the very least you wished for it, and now your wishes come true.
Maybe we'll get to meet a robot crocodile.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Oh, he's hideous.
Oh, this is absolutely some Crash Bandicoot stuff right here.
Yeah.
Best keep your arms and legs inside the ride.
And remember, dead mice tell no tales.
I think we've got like 2 or 3 hands or arms right now, like just sitting inside our pockets.
Please keep your magic paintbrush deactivated for the remainder of the flight. Well, you can't see the crocodile because the subtitle is blocking it, but trust me, he's there. So, the main deck here is the primary boss arena for Hook. He shoots out these bombs and gusts of thinner. But, I don't know. We promised Pete Pan that we'd go and save the sprite, so we're going to ignore this fight and head up to the masts. And this is the other way. There are 3 different ways to beat Captain Hook, and this is the one that requires the most effort. Oh, perhaps I spoke a little too soon. Never mind.
This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. Instead of a boss fight here, it's basically a platforming challenge. And you can use either paint or thinner to stun Hook and buy you some time to hop across to the next sail.
Oh, this is the best.
I'm loving this.
Yeah, it's really neat. Although some of the set piecing might have been telegraphed a bit better, but I don't know. Maybe that's because my TV was a bit dark while I was recording this.
I mean, I can see the sandbag right there.
Now, for some reason, I thought that I could platform across the sandbag. You can't. Don't do that.
Why not just use that platform over to the right?
Because I wasn't thinking. Anyway, while we're climbing back up, here are the other 2 ways that you can defeat Captain Hook. So, yeah, he shoots thinner at you, but he also shoots these bombs, which you can deflect back and then hit him because his barrel is made out of tune. You can also use thinner to remove the barrel, but it takes a little longer.
Yeah, like every Clockwork boss, like once you expose their circuitry, you can do a spin attack on them.
Yeah. Also, because I played this part on an emulator for the other 2 fights, I don't really like aiming the cursor using the controller, so I just prefer to use melee.
Interesting.
Yeah, we want to wait for Hook to go over to the other barrel there, because we have the track lined up to make him walk the plank.
Almost like a pipe puzzle.
Yeah, that's actually a great analogy.
Oh.
Sorry.
Beautiful.
So that's the second way to fight Captain Hook. There is a third, if you don't want him to walk the plank. Instead, you can very slowly destroy his animatronic model by repeatedly smashing it against the sides of the ship. By the way, I can say from experience, do not try to sneak into that little corner there between the pillar and the barrel. You will almost always get hit. and it takes, I believe, 4 hits for Hook to fall apart.
Interesting. So I guess this is considered to be another like bad path, I guess.
Yeah, the hero path is to save the sprite, which calls Pete Pan over.
I don't know. I'm kind of liking this solution a little bit better.
Well, I mean, we get a reward for Big Bad Pete if we help out all the other Pete's, even though we filled Pete-tronic with thinner. I'm not entirely sure what hit me there. I think it was the barrel. And this should do it.
I do find it funny how, no matter what adaptation he's in, Hook never seems to actually, get dead. Like he seems to be generally a comic relief villain.
I mean, we all know the real villain is the crocodile. It is the nature of beast, after all. Anyway, we freed the sprite.
That doesn't look like a canned beverage.
Hey, listen!
She's going to find Pete Pat and repeatedly tell him how to use the first-person camera and lock on. I do really like this cutscene, though. You can tell that whoever animated this cutscene spent like all of their lunch breaks watching old Disney cartoons.
Well, Pete even crows like Peter Pan.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
It really is.
Okay, yeah, like, I think I kind of like this one as well.
And thus, two forces forever at arms, fight to the death forever and ever. Amen. It is also possible after defeating Hook with one of the thinner options to go up and save the sprite. You just don't get anything for it. And it actually ends up being slightly easier, because Hook's already dead by that point.
Or exit stage right pursued by a bear.
Yes, pursued by a Pete. Or a Croc, depending on the ending. And I'm not sure why the victory music plays twice there. Oh well. And there is one last piece of concept art on, I don't know my ship names, but it's on the other side of the ship.
Would that be the prow? Yeah, I don't know either.
We stand animatronic Croc in this house.
I love the crocodile ending. It's just picture perfect right from the Peter Pan cartoon.
Oh yeah, like that's basically how the actual cartoon ends.
And, well, we're very excited, but let's not forget the rocket piece.
You don't forget the rocket piece, do you?
That's why the whole point... Well, we're not allowed to forget it. But that is, in fact, the whole point, was to get that piece of the rocket ship.
I'm just saying, you know, you're kind of running around a lot. Okay, there you go.
I wanted to give the moment a sense of grandeur. It's all about pacing. And with that, we have completed the Ventureland portion of the game. We're done with the pirates for now, at least. And next time we'll be doing some more of the side quest content, including the non-pirate branch of the Ventureland stuff, because all the pirates have gone home to Tortuga, and we won't be seeing them again. But we'll know that they spent the rest of eternity safe from the hordes of animatronic Hook.
Huh. I guess that means that Smee's the captain now?
Yeah, I guess so.
So they're going to be dead in 2 weeks.
I give them 6 months tops.
I'm the captain now.
Finally, my time to shine. Oh God, why is everyone dead?
he just turns his back and everyone falls over. Thus is the life of Shmee.
Oh, perhaps Mickey should have left us to die after all.
Oh dear.
We have fun here.